All right, what's up? What's up, guys? I want to talk to you guys about the number one lesson, the number one takeaway I got during going door to door. And honestly, it wasn't immediate that I got this. It was pretty much in the first 2 weeks of going door to door. It wasn't like something I learned 4 years into going door to door. It was something that hit me immediately right off the bat. And so I'm going to talk to you guys about probably the number one takeaway that I learned going door to door. Now, obviously, when you're going door to door, there's a lot of takeaways. There's a lot of character building. There's a lot of things that you learn about other people, communicating with other people, building value, so on and so forth. But none of those things really matter a whole great deal unless you have this one thing, this one trait, this one characteristic. And this is the thing that I learned in the first really 2 weeks of going door to door. So let's roll that intro and let's dig into it.
Down, levitate, going up, elevate. Watch me demonstrate. On time, never late. I grind, celebrate. No pump fake, hesitate. I've been scoring every day. Champagne Perrier. Since 9-3, been in the box, now I'm stepping up to home. Like straight out the sandlot, now I'm plotting on the globe. I work hard, I show love, that karma steady growing. Got this far.
Like, if you don't have an intro, do you really have a show? I don't know. Anyway, door to door, guys, is where I, cut my teeth as a salesperson. I was selling alarm and security products, to residential homeowners that were obviously concerned about break-ins or medical emergencies or fire, whatever. And, I got into this sales position. It was the first real, genuine, true sales position. I'd sold some vacuum cleaners and some cutlery off and on throughout the summers in between school or whatever. But after dropping out, this is kind of the first career that I had as a sales professional. And so, some of the things that I ended up learning, obviously, like I already mentioned, there's tons of takeaways and things that I learned. But the number one lesson that I was able to take away that's probably impacted me over the course of my life more than anything else that I've probably learned in sales, period, or in life, is this one thing that I picked up actually from my mom. Of all people. Obviously, it wasn't my sales manager or, another person on the team or somebody else that taught me this. It was something that I kind of learned on my own and was forced to learn on my own, based on my mom. And so, of course, when I started this job, I thought it'd be pretty easy. When I got recruited or hired or whatever in the interview, they were like, yeah, basically, you're just giving away alarm systems. Like, you just go door to door, you talk to people about this thing, and, they're either going to buy or they're not. And I was like, wait a second, we're giving away alarm systems. So what is there to actually sell? And they were like, well, we sell the monitoring contract. So the equipment and the alarm is free, but people are going to be paying for, the actual monitoring so that, medical, police and fire can go out to the house if there should be a problem. And so I figured, this would be easy enough, right? I'd been born and raised with the security system. My dad is always, erring on the side of safety. And it's something I grew up in. So I figured, of course, everyone else is going to have this. So, I'm assuming everyone else is going to be able to buy this from me. So day one, I go out and knock up a couple doors. I'm terrified. I'm full of anxiety. It's starting to get a little warm up here in Milwaukee. And, I'm just kind of like wishing that I could do something else. But, whatever. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to go. And like the first week goes by and I'm watching everybody else in the office, come into the office the next morning and, one guy got one sale, some guy got two, some guy get three. And I'm watching them make money. I'm watching them have fun. I'm watching them, make sales. And I didn't have anything to show for myself for the first week of knocking doors. And I'm starting to feel a little displaced. I'm feeling like this might not be the right opportunity. I'm starting to, reduce my levels of confidence and self-esteem to reflect, obviously, the fact that I hadn't produced anything. And so I decide, to give it another crack the next week. So Monday, I go out, knock doors, no sales. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no sales. So almost an entire 2 weeks in, and I've got nothing to show for all of this work, all of this rejection, all of the anxiety that I've experienced. And, of course, I'm learning about the product and I'm just trying to do my best. And I'm coming up empty, nothing. And so I remember exactly where I was. I was on the street corner of like 51st and Capitol Drive here in Milwaukee. And I call my mom because I'd been dropped off by a van every day. You get dropped off, you get a certain, street or two that you're going to be knocking for your entire week. And so I'm in my hood, as they called it. And I call my mom. I'm on the corner. I'm smoking a cigarette back in the day when I was smoking. And I call my mom and I'm like, I'm done. I quit. It's a Saturday. There's a million things I'd rather be doing. And of course, I'm not making any money. I'm not making any sales. My confidence is shot. My self-esteem is gone. And I'm just like in the doldrums and things are not working out for me. And so my mom's on the phone. She says, I'm happy to come pick you up. I'm like, oh, really? You would do that? And she's like, yeah, I would pick you up. No problem. But, and there's always a but. And this is why my mother is so great and why I learned this lesson. She said, but you have to knock one more door, just one more door. And then you call me back and I'll come pick you up. I'm like, fine. This is fair. I'm going to get bailed out. I'm going to quit this job. And before I do that, I guess I'll have to knock one more door. So my mom, we hang up on the phone and I'm looking down this street and I'm kind of just like finishing my cigarette. And I'm like, who's going to be this last door that I knock? And I'm walking. I got my binder and stuff and I'm walking and there was this like probably 100, maybe 150 feet away on the other side of the street. There was this like old, like 1950s, 1960s truck. I'm not very well versed with old like Ford trucks or anything, but it's this old truck. And there's like the hood is open and there's a guy like working on the engine or doing an oil change or whatever. And, I'm just kind of walking and I'm getting a little bit closer to this, but it's on the other side of the street. And, I'm still looking around at like what I'm going to knock. I feel like nobody wants to talk to me. People are going to like reject me, slam the door in my face like they had been for the previous 2 weeks. And as I'm walking, I just hear this voice or whatever. It's like, hey, man. And like I'm looking around and like I see that this guy that was working on the truck like got up and he's looking at me. He's like, hey, man, what are you selling? And that's where I was like, dude, I'm done. Like, look, man, I'm not really selling anything. I'm just giving away alarm systems, apparently. And that was probably exactly what I said and exactly how I said it, like just defeated. And he's like, alarm systems? Man, I've been looking at getting one for like a little while, and this is perfect timing, man. Why don't you come in to my house and tell me what you got going on? And so reluctantly, I'm like, yeah, man, whatever. This is too easy, right? And so we get into this guy's house. And by the way, this guy is like literally father time. Like he had to have been 95, 96 years old. Like dude was old. And we get inside of his house and we sit down and I start talking to him. I give him my little laminated slicks like, hey, here's your panel and this is what it does. And by the way, it's totally free. You don't have to pay for it as long as you put this sign out in the yard, that good old advertising pitch from back in the day. And he's like, man, sounds good. And so I gave him the pricing of, the monitoring, $49.99 a month, that there was going to be a $99 activation fee. And, this is typically where if things are easy door to door, especially with this type of sale, there is a credit check because, of course, we're giving them a couple $100s worth of equipment for free. And, of course, the monitoring company wants to make sure that this person's going to be able to pay for, the ongoing recurring services. And this is usually the point where I had sold a couple of people, but I never passed credit. I couldn't actually sell to these people because their credit was too low or just didn't work out. And so, I'm feeling even more deflated at this point because of how easy this has been. The fact that this guy's a lay down and I'm like, yeah, of course, this guy's going to come back with terrible credit. It's not going to be a deal. And then I can call my mom and get the hell out of here. And so I call in on the credit check, you do name, address, all that stuff. And all of a sudden, the lady on the other line of the phone, for the first time in my sales career, she says, that's an A as in alpha. And I literally almost died of excitement, like just passed out right there on that guy's dining room table. But I didn't, but I was that excited. I was like, oh my God, dude, here's a real opportunity. Like I can actually like close this, hopefully, fingers crossed. So he passes credit. I flip the contract over. I slide it over to him with the pen and I'm like, okay, so this is the monitoring. This shows you're not paying anything for the equipment. This is the $99 activation fee one time. And all I need is your signature right here. And like before I had finished my sentence, this man grabs the pen, signs his name, does another one on the other sheet of paper, whatever. And like, dude, I got a deal. Like, I got a deal, and technically didn't even have to knock on another door. Technically, this guy knocked on my door from across the street, called me over, and invited me into his house. Anyway, I'm in this house, and all of a sudden, it just hit me too. Not only did I just make a sale, but I also earned a commission. And that commission was $225. $225. I remember it. That was a full pop deal. That was the most you could make on a deal, going door to door at that time when the industry was young and people like me were stupid because we didn't know exactly how much that contract was worth. Regardless, I finally get this sale, and I'm like, okay, I just made probably, in a half hour or so, what it used to take me a week of earning tips at Chili's before I got fired. So I got fired from Chili's, and the most I could ever really make in an afternoon serving lunches at Chili's was, $30, $40, maybe 50 if I was like, felt good looking and had charm or whatever, but really it would take several days just to earn $225 at Chili's. And so it occurred to me that not only had I made a sale, but I had also earned the commission, and the commission that I had earned in that 30-minute period was pretty much a week's worth of work at Chili's. And that's where, like, needle in the arm, I'm addicted to sales now. And it occurred to me that, it wasn't about going home now or quitting. It was about how many times can I actually do this in one single day? And also I had learned the biggest, character building lesson is don't give up. If you give up, you'll never, ever get that sale. You'll never, ever get that girl or guy that you want to date. You'll never get anything in your life if you continuously are calling somebody to have you picked up, because you can't deal with rejection. You can't deal with the adversity. You can't deal with the challenges. You can't deal with your own internal mindset, your own negative thoughts, your own doubt, right? If you can't deal with those things and you refuse to confront those things and you quit, well, then there's nobody that's going to help you. Nobody's going to bail you out, and nobody's going to do anything. So had I probably knocked that one last door, I might not have converted that sale. And truthfully, I might not have even called my mother at that time to have me picked up. I probably would have knocked one more door. And that thought has been inside my head. That little one more door mantra has been my mantra for, ever since then. Like, what is that, 15, 16 years ago? And it's been something that's helped get me through pretty much everything in my entire life. So, that was the number one lesson, number one takeaway from doing that is just persistence wins every single time. No matter how long your cold streak is, no matter how long it takes for you to get a yes, you're going to get a yes from somebody sooner or later. You just have to hang in there for it. That's all. And so, this message is pretty much for anybody out there that's, thinking about quitting, thinking about, giving up on something. One more door, knock one more door, make one more phone call. Call your crush one more time, shoot him one more text message, whatever that might be. Don't give up and quit because you haven't gotten what it is that you wanted yet. That's that thing that you have to wrap your mind around, is that sooner or later you'll get what you want. It might take 50 years. Is what you want worth waiting 50 years for it? I know it is for me, And if it's not, then figure out what it is that you really want and what that thing is that you'd be willing to sacrifice: time, energy, effort, resources, relationships, lifestyle, whatever that might be. Is it worth it? And if it's not, then quit, because then you can actually move on to something that's going to reward you versus just kind of like, giving up on something that you really do want. And a lot of us want more sales. We want more money. We want more swag. We want more self-esteem, more positivity. We want more confidence. And all those things are on the other side of just biting the bullet and getting through some of the rejection, through some of that negativity. So never quit, never give up. Always tell yourself one more door, one more call, one more rep, one more whatever. Just do one more, and then you can quit. And chances are, you're not going to want to quit. And that's the way that this thing works out. Appreciate everybody watching this. Let me know if it helped. Drop a comment below.